Well, China reacts strongly to U.S. sanctions on Iran. Beijing tells Washington to stop damaging bilateral relations. The U.S. has placed sanctions on China's Bank of Kunlun over transactions with Iran. China's foreign ministry is outraged. It wants the U.S. to lift the sanction and stop damaging China's interests and relations. The reaction comes a day after President Obama announced new sanctions against foreign banks trading with Iran. China says it will officially protest the decision. Beijing insists on moving forward with its trade and energy deals with Iran, despite U.S. pressures. For more on the recent U.S. sanctions, international lawyer Franklin Lam joins us now from the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Mr. Lam, more unilateral sanctions on behalf of the U.S. Washington seems to really be taking this to another level, and every time it's playing judge, jury, and executioner on its own.
Yes, indeed. I think I may have lost sound, but I got the gist of your question. I think we can look at this latest action by the American government in the interesting context of the presidential campaign. As you know, it's barely 100 days away. There's a nasty racist element that was revealed by a Pew poll yesterday showing that among white voters, Mitt Romney is leading Obama by 20 points. So what happened is the Congress, pushed by the Zionist lobby and by the Republicans in their second-tier leadership position in the Congress, they drafted legislation. And the House, as you know, voted on it yesterday. Well, what Obama did to help him with the campaign, he preempted the Congress, he preempted the Zionist lobby and the Romney campaign by issuing an executive order, which, as you know, under the American Constitution, he can do. So he skirted that to get credit for the coming campaign, credit to refute the charges of Mitt Romney that he's weak on Iran, and it was a very shrewd political deal. Now, the Senate will ratify, no doubt, on Friday, and Obama will sign their legislation, which is basically the same as the executive order, although it adds a little bit. But sure, you're quite right, judge, jury, executioner on these sanctions, but as you realize, and your viewers, they're biting some of those who support the president and who support the Republican Party and who are allies of America, and some like China who are not, because they're paying the price. Sanctions, as you know, is a two-bladed sword. It arguably hurts the Islamic Republic, but it hurts their customers too, and it undermines profits for many countries in the world. So it's not a major development, but it's in the context, I think, of this very close presidential election, which I used to think Obama would handily win. I still think he'll win, but it's going to be a tough race these next 100 days.
Well, there's no doubt that the U.S. is threatened by China's growing stature as a dominant world power. Do you think maybe the U.S. is testing the waters, trying to see how China will react to such measures?
Honestly, I don't think that's the primary purpose of the sanctions. I'm sure they'll be studied and there'll be interesting aspects. And I know that, you know, we have a lot of relations with China, and this is one aspect that's gone sour, as has the American stance in Syria. Toughened relations, alienated the Chinese. But I think primarily I see it an effort to please the Zionist lobby, to please the critics of Obama and those who say that he's too weak on Iran for purely domestic purposes in the coming election. I think that's what this is about, and what that Obama actually achieved a little a sleight of hand, a little coup here in his political campaign. Romney didn't do very well in his 3-day trip, and now we're going to see some really tough actions taken on both sides to try to win the White House in 3 months' time.
And what about the persistence of the United States with regards to Iran. If talks and negotiations under the framework of the P5+1 are ongoing, then why continuously resort to these measures? It seems that the U.S. really isn't looking for a middle ground with Iran regarding the nuclear energy program.
Yeah, I agree with the implication of your question, because we say we want dialogue, we want a diplomatic solution, but Obama said just yesterday, but it's got to comply with our demands and our demands of the international community demands, which isn't true. It's not based on international law. It's based on America wishes and their allies. So there's not sincerity here, I think. He will say those things, but he doesn't really mean them. I don't think they want a diplomatic solution at this time, at least not till after the election, and they're not going to probably accept one that doesn't humiliate the Islamic Republic, violate international law and the rights under the NPT Convention. So I don't see, a prospect for a real settlement, diplomatic, as Obama is calling for.
International lawyer,
Or claims he wants. Yeah.
International lawyer, Mr. Franklin Lamb from the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Sir, thank you for your time.